Welcome to video 4 of module 12.1, where we are going to be doing a demo that is quite similar to what you will be expected to do in assignment 3. So as part of these slides that are posted on Blackboard, I've created a SQL cheat sheet for some of the unary operators that we're going to be using throughout the semester. This is not an exhaustive list of the SQL that we are going to be learning, but it is a nice reference for you guys to have. So hopefully you will find that useful. Now in this video, we're going to be doing a demo that is similar to assignment 3. Feel free to follow along. You can download the AACDB file from Blackboard, and it's the exact same file that you're going to be using for assignment 3. Now, for those of you that don't have access on your computer, in previous semesters I had suggested that you could do this in the computer lab. However, obviously this semester that's a little bit more problematic. So if you can safely find a computer to borrow or use a friend's computer or family member's computer that has access, that's great. If you cannot, however, let me know and we will work something out. I might set you up to do the homework in Oracle, and it'll be pretty much the same, but we'll figure that out. We'll be flexible and we will work together on this. So one of the I guess nice features about Access, really it's kind of a blessing and a curse, is it has this graphical user interface called Query by Example. So the blessing part of this is that Query by Example is a user-friendly interface for constructing SQL queries. However, the curse part of it is that this is not nearly as powerful as what you can do writing the SQL code yourself. So the QBE interface allows you to add tables and create relationships and drag things around and just click boxes to add attributes. However, and then it generates the SQL code in the background. However, like I said, it's not as powerful, not as flexible, and the SQL code that the Query by Example interface creates was clearly not created by a human. So if you try to answer assignment 3 using the QBE interface, it's going to be obvious that that's what you did, and you're not going to get credit for it. So I just want you to write the SQL by hand, and that's what we're going to be demonstrating in the duration of this video. So a few things to note, and I mentioned this in the previous video, but Access for the wildcard characters uses an asterisk to represent any number of characters and a question mark to represent exactly one character, whereas all other DBMSs, including Oracle, use a %sign and an underscore. Also, don't copy and paste any queries from this presentation, and I'm going to show you why that's going to be problematic, and also why I suggest you do the SQL project using either Notepad or TextEdit as opposed to using something like Word, because all of the Microsoft Office suite changes your quotation marks to the kind of prettier smart quotes, the curly quotes, instead of just the regular straight quotes, and I'll show you why that doesn't work. So when you download the ACCDB file from Blackboard, it's likely you're going to get this yellow security warning pop up the first time you open it. Anytime you download an executable or an Access file or a couple of other types of files from the internet, Windows is going to give you this warning. In this case, you just need to click this Enable Content button to proceed with the assignment. So at this point, I'm actually going to drop out of the PowerPoint presentation and go into Access. So here we have the Access file that you're going to be using for assignment 3. When you open it up, you see here in the left-hand pane, you have these 5 tables: Imp Store, Employees, Products, Stock, and Stores. If you double-click on any of these tables, it will open up a view here that shows you all of the data. So we have our attributes across the top, and then all of these tuples full of data with values for each one of the attributes. So you can kind of browse around these tables and see what we have here. But in order to write the queries, what we want to do is go to the Create tab up in the ribbon here and click on Query Design. Now, when you do that, the window that pops up is going to be the window that gets you into the query by example interface. So now this isn't what I want you to do, but I'm just going to show you what this looks like. If you double click on each one of these tables, you can see they're popping up here in the background, and Access has very nicely drawn lines between all of the tables based on the foreign key relationships that have been established. And this really looks a lot like an entity relationship diagram. We're showing how these entities are related to one another. So you can write some queries using this way, but this isn't what I want you guys to do for the assignment. So I'm actually going to close this. I'm going to go back to the Create tab and click Query Design. And when this pops up, I'm just going to click Close and get rid of that. Okay. Now in the top left corner where you see a View, click on the little arrow and you can see we can switch between SQL View and Design View. What we want to do is switch to SQL View, and now we're going to have an area where we can type SQL queries in. So I'm going to delete what is there. And I'm going to write my first SQL query, which is going to just select all attributes and all tuples from this employees table. So to do that, I'm going to say select asterisk from employees. Okay, and then I am going to click the Run button. And now we have all attributes and all tuples from our employees table. Now to get back to our SQL, or the area that we can write our SQL queries, we're again just going to click on this little triangle, and now we have a third view, datasheet view, which is this output that came up. We're going to switch back to SQL view, and now we have our SQL query that we just constructed moments ago. And if we wanted to change this a little bit, and now, for example, select all of our employees but order them by last name, just change this a little bit and say select asterisk from employees, order by L name. I'm going to click Run. And now you see we get the same output, except we change the order that these tuples are returned in. We have now from A to Z by last name. Now, if we wanted to order our employees alphabetically by first name, we would just need to go and change our SQL query to say select asterisk from employees, order by F name, and click Run. And now you see we are alphabetically ordered by first name. Now, another thing we might want to do is find all employees whose last name starts with a particular letter. So let's say we wanted to find all employees who have a last name that starts with the letter M. We would say select asterisk from employees where L name like, and then a single quotation mark, the letter M, and then an asterisk and another single quotation mark. Now we're going to run this, and we see we have two employees whose last name starts with M, Seth Mercer and Castor McKnight. Okay, now let me demonstrate to you why we don't want to write our SQL queries using Word. I'm going to bring a Word document window over here. Let's say we had written this. Select asterisk from employees where L name like M asterisk. Oops, asterisk. Okay, now you see these quotation marks are kind of nice and pretty and curly. If we were to copy this, then bring it over here into SQL and paste. Now this says enter parameter value instead of just working like we would expect. And this really graphically doesn't even look any different. But to the computer, this curly quotation mark is completely different than a regular quotation mark. Now, on the other hand, if we were to write this in Notepad, just a plain text editor, say select asterisk from employees where L name like M asterisk. You see these quotation marks are just straight. I'll paste that and click run, and you see this works. And so the problem is that Word, trying to make things look a little prettier, gives you these curly quotation marks. Now, you actually can kind of force Word not to do that, but it is a bit more of a pain. So I would suggest you just write all of your SQL queries using Notepad on Windows or TextEdit on Mac. Okay, so now we'll look at another SQL query. I'm going to go back up to this View dropdown and select SQL View. And let's actually just delete this entire query. And now let's run a new query. So I'm going to go back to the Create tab, click on Query Design. When this pops up, I'm just going to click Close and go select SQL View. In the previous example, we had just projected all attributes by using the asterisk. If we want to project only a subset of attributes, though, we can select whatever attributes we are interested in. So now I'm going to select fname, lname, city, state, and phone from employees. Now when I run that, I get just these attributes that I am interested in. I can specify whatever order I want them in. So let's say I wanted to see phone number before city and state. I could just specify that before city and state. So fname, lname, phone, city, state. Now it's in this other order. If I wanted to see only my employees who are from Tennessee, TN, just go back and add a where clause here. So say where state equals, then a single quote, and then TN, and another single quote to close it. And when I click run, I see now my employees from Tennessee. And then of course I could do something like add an order by clause on the end of that if I want them alphabetically by last name. So say where state equals Tennessee, order by L name. Now when I run that, see we're alphabetically by last name. If I wanted them in reverse alphabetical order, I could say order by L name and then DESC for descending. And now we're in reverse alphabetical order. We can also make our where clause a little bit more complicated. If we wanted, let's say all of our employees who were in Tennessee or Arizona, so where state equals AZ, so we could say where state equals TN or state equals AZ. And now when we run that, we see we have all of our Tennessee employees and all of our Arizona employees. Another way we could get this exact same output is to use the N operator. So instead of having two, or having an OR statement there, say where state N, and then in parentheses we'll put TN, and comma AZ, click run, and now we get the same output that we got before. Okay, so now let's take a look at our products for a moment. I'm going to go back to my Create tab, click Query Design. When this pops up, I'm just going to click Close, switch over to SQL View, and I want to look at everything that is in our product table. So select asterisk from products and click Run. You see we have a bunch of products that have a wide range of prices. Let's say I wanted to see all of our products that cost between $10 and $50. So there's two different ways I could do this. I could say where price is greater than or equal to 10 and price is less than or equal to 50. That gives me all of our products that are between $10 and $50. I could also order these by the price. That might make this easier to see. So I'm going to add, and I could do this on another line also because our SQL statements can span multiple lines. I'm going to say order by price and click run. And now you see we're ordered from the smallest to the largest priced or highest priced item. But another way that we could write this is to say select asterisk from products where price between 10 and 50, order by price. Now when we run this, we get the exact same output that we had before. So two different ways to get the same result. Okay, now one final thing we're going to do is look at how to do an aggregate function. So we're going to close that query, go back to create, query design, close this query by example thing, go back to view, switch to SQL view. Now we want to do a count of how many employees we have in each state. So I want to select state and count of tuples from employees. Now, in order to use my aggregate function, we need to use the group by operator. So I'm going to group by state. So this is going to give me a list of states and the number of employees in each state. So you see we have 4 employees in Arizona, 7 in Mississippi, and 6 in Tennessee. Now, if I wanted to carry this a step further and only list my states that have more than 5 employees, I could say select state, count asterisk from employees, group by state, and then something like where count is greater than 5, right? See if this is going to work. Oh, it doesn't work. It's because we have to use the having operator when we're doing these expressions on our aggregate functions. Okay, so instead of where, we have to say having count greater than 5. Now when we click on run, we see we get Mississippi and Tennessee, but not Arizona because Arizona had only 4 employees. So hopefully this gets you kick-started on assignment 3 and on the SQL project as well. We will be having our face-to-face Zoom meetings during our normally scheduled class time. So if you have any questions or concerns or comments, anything like that, join up to the meeting and we'll talk then. And until then, stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and go forth and do great things.